Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1472, written by Sarah X11, The Woman Named Aroura. When I was around 20, a few years ago, I kept having dreams about a woman with long black hair named Aroura. They were different dreams, but for some reason, her distinct face and name always ended up in them. It got to the point where I would wake up frustrated and confused, trying to Google her name or find out how I was connected to her. After a few months, she stopped showing up and I dismissed it, thinking my brain was just being a scumbag. Fast forward a few years later, Halloween 2009, I'm in the car with a friend, stopped at a gas station. I'm about to pull out and merge into a highway when I get a phone call from a random number, so I stop the car, but no one answers. There was a person behind me who grew impatient, honked at me, and then swerved in front of me instead of waiting for 2 seconds for me to move. Second they get on the highway, some silver Civic loses control of their wheel and crashes into the car that swerved in front of me. I called the cops and waited at the gas station for them to come. Turns out the drivers of both cars died. It 100% would have been me if I hadn't got that phone call. Called the bank a few hours later out of gratitude and curiosity. Rang 3 times and went to voicemail. Hi, you've reached Aroura. Please leave your name and number. Never had goosebumps like that in my life. Called it again the next day because I was so confused about the whole situation. Some woman answers. We get to talking. I tell her my entire story, including the dreams I had. She tells me she doesn't know how I got her number and that she never called me as far as she remembers. Weird. Ask her if she has Facebook to confirm if she is in fact the woman in my dreams. Check her Facebook. Holy crap, it's her. If that's not a glitch in the Matrix, then I'm just bad crap crazy. Case notes are file 1472. The Woman Named Aroura. This is almost like Cupid mythology, where you could have a guardian angel that is trying to set you up. I don't think this woman herself had anything to do with saving you. And again, she was oblivious to even having called you, but it was from her number. So I think the guardian angel looking over you is sort of like a Cupid agent as well. Maybe for some reason you are destined or supposed to be with this woman and it wasn't happening organically in this universe. So measures were taken to make sure it does. It's kind of like an arranged dating service, but on a meta level. I don't know how I feel about that. Case file number 1473, written by FF0000IT. How King Crimson Brought Back Bob. I had a friend in high school. Let's call him Bob. Bob was a very nice fellow, and while we weren't that close, we had similar tastes in music and we'd share CDs. This is in late 80s, way before file sharing. Anyway, we eventually graduated, and I moved several hundred miles away to college and we lost touch. When I left for college, I had one of Bob's CDs still in my possession, Beat by King Crimson. Fast forward 10 years. I'd graduated college and was knee-deep in my career and finally saved up enough money and bought my first house. In the new house and while unpacking, I see the CD in a box. Hadn't noticed it in many years and thought, gee, I really should track down Bob and return this. Right then, the doorbell rings. It's Bob. And he says, hey, you wouldn't still happen to have my King Crimson CD, do you? I look down. I'm holding it in my hand. I hand it to him, and his mouth drops open. Mine probably already is. We exchange pleasantries. I probably ask him how he found me, but I no longer remember. He eventually takes off. I haven't seen Bob since. Case file 1473. How King Crimson Brought Back Bob. So we can rule out coincidence, of course. My guess is Bob has some sort of psychic connection to you. Psychic powers, if you will, and he's not even aware of it. So by his mere presence of approaching the house with the goal in mind to retrieve the CD, it instilled in you the desire to go and clean stuff out and find the CD. In a certain sense, Bob had a domino field set up and he pushed on the first one without even realizing it. I think. Now maybe he's some super mastermind villain that is in full control of his powers, but I doubt that. That would be an interesting story to read one day. Bonus file written by itakeeyesout. 2 sisters, 2 homes, 1 unsettling night. This happened around 2 years ago. I was home alone one night and was in my bedroom watching Netflix. The layout of my home is that you come up the stairs and then go back on yourself along the landing. The bathroom door is on the right, followed by my bedroom. It was late, midnight to early hours, which is common for me. Suddenly, I heard a noise of someone being in the house downstairs and paused the TV. Then, as clear as day, I could hear the person walking up the stairs. I was completely frozen and my heart was racing, thinking someone is genuinely in the house and is about to kill me. My cat had also pricked up their ears and was looking out towards the landing, making my fear worse. They got up to the top of the stairs and began walking along the landing. The steps were coming closer to the bedroom, but then it was like they turned into the bathroom. I heard a noise in the bathroom and then nothing. At this point, my cat jumped down off the bed and went into the bathroom. They came out fine, so at that point I investigated and there was nothing. Nothing out of place, nothing to explain the noises, nothing downstairs, nothing. I texted my sister to tell her what a weird experience I'd just had. We've both previously had weird and uneasy feelings and odd experiences before, her more so. She was also awake because the exact same thing had just happened to her. At the time, she was living about 50 miles away in a flat on the top floor. The stairs to her door ran alongside the flat, so you could always hear if anyone was approaching, and there are no other flats on that floor. It's just the one door to hers. The same thing happened where she could hear footsteps approaching the door and then it stopped, and nothing. It wasn't someone who came to the door and then turned around because you would hear the retracting steps. It was the strangest thing. I can't emphasize enough how sure I was that someone was walking around my house. Every step was so clear. And then nothing. But then for her to have the same thing happen at the same time, we just have no explanation. Bonus notes. 2 sisters, 2 homes, 1 unsettling night. So this is weird enough on its own, if it only happened to you. But combined, how do you make any sense of that? There's some kind of essence that is tethered to both of you. And whatever affects you affects her as well, even 50 miles away. It's sort of like spiritual quantum entanglement. And now time for the fact of the day. Time is relative. When you look up at the stars, you're reading messages in a bottle. And that information, it might not be deliberately crafted for us to understand or read, but it's still there, and read it we shall. The universe is a grand tapestry of ancient fossilized records, and it's up to us to appreciate it, because as far as we know, no one else can.